Guys, we are back. Happy Monday. So we are live on YouTube, TikTok, as well as in the community. So we're gonna do a couple things a little bit different today, guys. I still will do the TA on different stuff. What I've been doing with the tech stocks, guys, is just throw out any of the tech stocks you want to see. If there's somebody on that wants me to do the TA, do it. I found myself as I talk to people in the community, I would do 8 TAs for the random tech stocks, and then to come to find out, not even a lot of people were trading them. So I don't want to waste my time. So we're going to talk a little bit more on the ATA side, or actually the live trader side first. So for those new to the channel, that is our automated portion of it. So like always, we'll look at the news because it's Monday. I always like to evaluate what we got coming in this week, so because that's going to make some determinations for me. So we see we got nothing really coming in today as far as just the economic side. Building permits tomorrow. Wednesday. This one will be interesting. We got the economic projections. So FOMC statement. This is all gonna rocket right here. Interest rate decision. So it's anticipated to stay the same. And a lot of times, nice. Yeah, Tesla's been a good profitable one. A lot of times when it's gonna stay the same like this, you're gonna see the markets pump up, dump, pump, dump, and then we end up around the same. So, but it'll be good movement still, regardless. But yeah, I can definitely do Tesla, David, for you. Jobless claims. What is that? Thursday. So pretty standard week, but Wednesday and Thursday is gonna rocket, which tends to be like that most of the time, anyways. So that's just the basic part of it, but. So what I want to talk about, for those in the room, you guys know I put this out here on Insight. So we have some support and resistance levels. I want to show you guys how I quickly mark these on my chart. So, we basically, for the room, what we do, I'll show you guys a sneak peek on this for TikTok. We put out, based on the put call ratio that's already in the system, just kind of what days might be more bullish or what days might be more bearish, right? So you can see that last week we had a lot of bearish scenarios, but now we're actually starting to flip to more potential bullish days, right? Which is interesting. So now we have these levels here that we want to mark. So I want to show you guys in Live Trader how I mark this if you decide you want to just use Live Trader for these levels. So we know we have 6 levels, right? So if you click on your screen here and you do Alt H or Option H, depending what you are, what system you're using, just make 6 lines. I'm going to show you the quick, easy way to do this. Doesn't matter where they are right now. Right, and so they can be yellow, they can be white. It doesn't really make a difference. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on it, and you're gonna click on the coordinates right there. Now you can take your first one, 446.27, right? If it goes away, just click the little gear, 446.27, and press enter, and you can see it moved, and now it's right there. So we don't want to touch that one again, right? So now we're gonna open this one. We have 449.16. 449.16, enter. Did I say 449? Yeah, 449.16. Okay, I'll say that seemed like it went up kind of high, but that's all right. This way you don't have to move your screen up and down. It just makes it a lot easier. 450.82. 450.82. And then we have 441.72. It might be easier if you do it that way. Look at it first and then click it. And then 440.01. And last but not least, that one we got 437.16. This, you can see it's a lot quicker than trying to drag your line. Totally forgot what it was. 437.16. Okay, then dragging your line over 437.16. So now I have my pivots. Now what you can do with these is now you can kind of shrink this down, and we see our ranges. See how this has already created the range, and that's kind of the idea Yeah, Tickety Talkie, I definitely can answer some questions. I have a certain amount of stuff I have to go through, and then once I finish with that here in about 20 minutes, then I'm definitely able to answer any questions you got. If it's quick, I can throw it out there. But we're working on the range for the automation on the live trader that we do, which is for options. So, but you guys can see how this created now our resistance. It created our support. And we can use these lines, right, to create our live trader ranges that we want to do. And so I want to show this way instead of just doing the TA through the indicators and all that, right? This is why we put this stuff out in there, so that way you can kind of look at that. Now we know that on the 18th today, they're saying that there could be a squeeze upward because the market's got a lot of puts in there, and so there might be some sentiment pushing up north. So when we do the range, before I adjust my settings, like let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about Friday. So Friday we didn't go very aggressive. We had a great start for the morning because we did enter this put late on Thursday. It closed at TP past TP6 actually, so this was a killer day. So we weren't real aggressive after that. And then you can see we did enter a put right here, which had a nice little scalp. The one thing that I like too, guys, is so we had a call set up right here, right, as well on. So if you take this call, you see 447.25. But notice it never actually took the call, which is great, right? Because it never actually went our direction. So it actually just ignored that call entirely, which was awesome. So so we just took the put. I didn't adjust any settings, and so that was pretty much our day. So so let's go ahead and let's just this time let's do it a little different, guys. Let's do it based on the range today. So we know that the price is right around here, 443.14. So we're kind of right smack in the middle. So we know that our first put resistance is actually pretty high, right? It's 446 area. Now we do know we have some resistance around here, 445.4, and let's pull back a little bit. Yeah, and this was also prior support right here at 445. So we definitely have some resistance within this line here. We'd have some resistance a little sooner even. Being it's Monday, I don't mind being a little more aggressive, so we can take a put off of this particular resistance area here. So I'll probably put it at somewhere in here, like 444.85. I'm okay with, I think. So I'm going to go back to 15 contracts, 444.85, and then that is going to be today. All we got to do is change those dates there. We're just going to do one trade. I'm okay if it takes it a little later. We'll say 3 o'clock. Oh, actually, guys, this just reminded me. If you're not on 1.05, make sure you did that. We did that announcement. So let me delete that, actually. This one's 1.05. Okay. This one's 1.5. Okay. All right. So let me add 2 more indicators. So again, you would want to put your email and your passphrase. I do it after the call because I'm not doing it on the live screen here. So I usually just redo it afterwards. But for the sake of helping y'all out. Okay, so I typically like to have my calls up top, my puts on the bottom, so I'm just going to redo all of that. So my put, we've already just kind of established where we wanted to do that, so this would be my first put. This is a fresh start, so I'm just going to do 15 contracts. We're going to do, so remember today's 0, so you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the most you can do is that 4, right? So we'll do 4. And then you have the 3 o'clock. And then we just close the candle, right? So the close the candle, the most important part on this one is going to be doing it the same day. So on the 18th, and you don't want to do any time earlier than 9:30 because it can't close it if it's not on 9:30 or after, because it has to have a candle to close it on. So we said 444.85 is where I'm okay taking a nice little scalp. A little more aggressive than I want to be, but it's Monday, so I don't mind. And my contract will be my stop loss, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right, and so let's go make sure we got all of our alerts deleted. I did delete them out. So all we do is we start this alert, and that one's live. Now we're going to, I left that as a call. I just noticed that. I was like, wait a minute. I had my put. Always be sure you double check this stuff, guys. I double check everything, triple check it, because one mistake ends up why didn't this fire? Whenever you make it right, make sure that it says put right there. That's why I was looking at that. I'm like, wait a minute. And so that's why I like to be very organized about where I put my stuff, because it creates a little bit of a system for you. So now, as you guys know, I like to do a continuation put. Now, I don't mind preparing this one, but I'm not going to choose it quite yet. And I'll explain why. So I have to determine where I want to put my call, because I determine my continuation based on usually where I'm going to put my call, right? So we know we might get a bounce somewhere around here, 441.75. Now don't take these with, just as it is entirely. Always double check, right? Double check your stuff and see, do you see any kind of support? Do you see anything else? If you don't see it there, go to the 1 hour, right? Look and see, is there a good range in here? So we have these end of the day lines that pop up, so we're going to work on trying to get those cleared out, but it's part of the code for now. So if you need to, you could always go to a different chart as well. But so far this does seem like it could be pretty good support. So I'm going to put a call right above it. We'll just say like 442. I don't want to go too close to opening price, so we'll just say 442, I think. So on my bottom one, I do the top there. So I'm going to do call 4. We're going to go till 3 o'clock. I'm going to stop at, no, I'm not stopping at the end of the day. What am I doing? 18. That's all right. And we said 442. Yep. Rest looks good. So just double check one more time. It all looks good. So we're going to create the alert. So now we have our call, which we're taking around here. We have our put, which we're taking a little sooner than this line here, right? Somewhere down in this range. Now, if you're working or you're not watching it, just take it closer to this range. Just remember, it has to be able to go up and come back. So if you take it right at 446, it may reject off of that, and you'll never be able to enter it. So you always want to go a little lower or a little higher than those ranges. So now we have 442 as our call. So now I don't mind setting up my continuation put. So we know that if it breaks 441.72, that it's likely going to fall down to this 440. So I'm going to put it a little bit below that, like 441. We'll say 441.40. Because we know if it breaks that range, right, it's going to have a little more room to fall for sure. All right. See how I had that prepared, so it was easy to set it up. Now let's talk about our continuation call. So there's a pretty good gap within here. So we know that we did a put in this range. So I would put my continuation call slightly above this one here, maybe 446.80. Somewhere in there, 446.60. So let's say 446.80. That's going to be my second one here. So I'm going to change that to a call. And those that are trading the SPY, I mean, you guys, that's why I'm jumping straight into this lately, because you guys, I mean, it's all the same ranges, right? So if you're trading it, you can use these ranges too, even if you're live trading it. So we said 446.80, we're going to take a call. And so what we set this up very specific like this, because what it does is it protects your trade if it goes the wrong way, right? Because if it breaks certain levels, it's likely that it's going to continue. So if it pops down in here, right, pumps up, we're going to take that call. If it pumps up here, falls, we're going to take that put. If it happens to break this area, then we're going to catch the run. If it breaks this area, we'll catch the fall. So that's kind of our range that we're going to set up today, guys. And that kind of covers the SPY too, right? So on the TA, but let's jump quickly into the SPY now that we know we have the automation set up. I'm going to do some just quick double checking, right? So let's look at the Harmonic Tracker Pro first. Let me stretch this out. So you can see we did, I mean, you can look at this, called the longs, called the short, called the long, called the short, called the long. Currently we're in a short right now, but we are near some heavy support. So we're also not quite oversold, but we were a little bit. So let's see how the market opens. Just keep in mind right here around this level, right, 442.90 is where we actually bounced right up to 448, right? And so if it holds this support, it's likely gonna do the same. But if we can actually break this support, this is going to be the level that I'm going to watch around 441.40. So if it does break that, right, then it's likely going to have a pretty nasty drop from there. Let's check the EMA's SMA. So I use the Bollinger and the Zone Tracker for that. So we are in a death cross. We could get a little bit of a push north to about 444.66 and then possibly reject off of this 21 SMA. Right here. If it flips this 21 SMA, then we're headed to 446.54. But if it doesn't, then it's just going to squeeze like we talked about on that. So I don't know. For me, I'm anticipating that we could definitely see some further lows, even down to that 441, 440. I think it'll hold. The only way that I see this gap filling this area and creating a lower low is if we flip this trend line. So if it has enough steam to break below 440, and then you start to see it do this, and you see a rejection off of this, then look out below. We're coming back down. So. But that's the range I would do. Somebody mentioned Tesla. Let's jump into Tesla. So the first thing that stands out to me on Tesla, obviously it's the 1 hour, right? But we're creating very head and shoulder look here. So I would need, if you see a collapse on Tesla down to 267 and you start to see support, I would really watch out for this head and shoulder, because it'll just be a reclaim of this side. Now, for me to believe that that's going to not happen, I would need to see this support level hold, right, and then see a break above that 278, and then see it kind of consolidate here. If I see that, then this whole thing is invalidated, right, and then we're going up. Now, what you can do is, we do this in the room too, if you want to use some localized stuff to trade it, I would just box it in. Just take your option T, and then you can see right there, I mean, both these wicks are lining up pretty good, right? And so this will kind of guide you on that, whether it's going to break above or not. Now, it still could break above and create this shoulder, so you're going to have to mark this also. I don't know that I would ignore this one here. I would use this as a shoulder. This was all news. You can see how it reclaimed really quick. And so we could see a pullback to 266. However, it could, if you look at how it does, like that, right? You got this little blip here, and then it came back down. We had, a little pump right there. We came back down to this level. So there could be another little blip up this way to 274 before that pullback happens down to 267. That's about what stands out to me. I mean, you do have on the 1 hour a long way to go before we get to the 2 hour, or the 200 on the 1 hour. I mean, so that's 262. Yeah. So that's kind of the range. The other thing with Tesla, I'm trying to look at what stands out to me here. We are red on the Divergence Hunter. Let's check the other stuff. The Bollingers are still green on the 1 hour. Harmonics got some bad harmonics coming up here for bearish, but we did call the long here, but it has not flipped to a short yet, but it does have some harmonics popping up. Gap fill sniper shows we've been a little too bullish. It's 15% separation, which I think it's 16 or 17 it actually will call for the bearish gap fill. So and we do have purple up the top, on the top, showing a little bit of weakness. So I would just be very, very careful taking a call on Tesla. I would be looking for more. If I'm trading this today, I'm looking for more put setups. That's just me. If I'm trading it, we always, especially when we're under this 21 SMA, we're always destined to come down and hit this 200 before we bounce back up. Good deal. So if you guys have any other tech stocks you want me to look at, bring it up, because that's the time I'm gonna look at it. Otherwise, I'm gonna skip to the Dixie, and then we'll wrap it up. And then tickety tockety, if you're still on too, you can ask your question. I'll be happy to try to answer it. So dollar. So the dollar has just been consolidating up here. Man, it is just holding strong. I'm gonna tell you right now, though, guys, be really careful, because you see this right here, this range right here, 105.89. Last time it hit it, I mean, it hit it with some steam. I mean, it just absolutely tanked back to $1. It hit it, didn't even make it, right? It got to 105.6, and it just tanked all the way back to $1. And so, as you guys know, when the Dixie goes down, the markets go up. So we're getting really close. So that's why there might be some more pullback in the market, but just be really careful with your puts, because if this thing tanks again for whatever reason, then it's going to flip again. Netflix, you know what's funny? I think I took Netflix off. Somebody had me. No, I did put it back. Okay, yeah, let's do Netflix. So I like to check the Bollinger and the Zone Tracker first. Let's stick on the 1 hour. So 1 hour did have some bullish divergence start to pop up. We are still red, but it was oversold there for a little bit on Netflix. So first thing that stands out to me is we are holding some support right here, which you can see is a lot of other key level support areas. So for me, I'm going to draw a line right there. This marks my support. You have a little higher support there, and then support. So now what that allows me to do is kind of zoom in a little bit, right, to see. So if I'm taking any kind of call on here, right, which you don't really, it's too soon to take a put. I would be really careful taking a put. If you want to take a call on this, I would just wait till it flips this 21 SMA at least and holds above this line, which is about 398 on Netflix. That's what I'm going to look for. But you do have divergence, right? You can see, I mean, if you're good at understanding divergence, I mean, this is a pretty broad divergence, because you have 1, 2, 3 higher lows, right? And you have 1, 2, and then if it depends if you take this, or really, I mean, this is still kind of right there, right? Lower lows, and so that divergence is definitely popping up. So I think Netflix could be popping, getting ready to explode. But you also have to I tell everybody this, don't be short-sighted too, because although we are at support, so the anticipation is it would come up, right? We have kind of ranged up in that zone for a bit, so it's not, I wouldn't put it past it to be able to break below here and come back into the next range, which could be down here, right? Which would be a reclaim of this side there, which is a pretty good fall. So I would just don't. My answer to you on Netflix is don't jump into a put yet, but I would just be patient for your call setup. Don't just jump into the call either, because we do have bullish divergence, but for me, if I want a perfect call setup on this, I'm going to wait for it to pump like this above the 21, and then I want to see higher highs, higher lows, having it hold above this support here. Then once the indicator flips green on me like that, and then once it hits this 200, that's when it's going to reject like that. So, but currently you can see we're just below that line, and we're below the 21. As long as you're below that 21, I would not take a call. I'll be really careful with that one, but hope that helps. Nvidia, I think Nvidia's on this page. Yeah, Nvidia, all the FOMO people getting wrecked. Let me mute this one. I'll pull back my zone tracker. So I had a bunch of lines here from prior. You guys can see what we talked about. I know last week was we drew a couple lines up top here, one of them being this one here, and we said, we're coming into a squeeze, right, which it did. You can see it squeezed this way, but again, this is kind of what I was talking about on Netflix. See how it stayed below this 21 SMA, came up, it created the squeeze. We got a close below not only that, but the trend line that we've been following, and it just created some more FOMO, right? Everybody starts flipping into those puts. Now it is extremely oversold. We're at like 16 on that 1 hour, which is nuts. So let's zoom out and see where's some support. Man, we are just below trend lines for sure. Let me look and see. I don't see any. Yeah, I don't see any good trend lines that I see. The only one that you could really take. I'm just gonna clear my lines actually. So what? Let's mute all of the indicators here. So the only thing I would probably pull from here that might give you some sign of support would be this right here. So if we break this line right here, it's now you're getting into where it's going to come down to this level of support. So I would mark it like this. This is how I would box my stuff in if I'm trading NVIDIA today. And then I'm going to take a simple trend line like this, right? And now I boxed it in. So I have my upper, I have my lower, I have my where it's gonna go. You know, you can take a put down to there if it breaks that. Now, if it happens to consolidate in here, right, or if it gets a wick and then a show of support because of this right here, you can see how explosive that was, and it pushes it above this right here. Then that's where you're gonna want to ride that up to probably the prior resistance somewhere in this range here. That's where I'd mark it, but it's likely gonna hit. Yeah, I'm looking at it. For me, I would probably I'd probably put a line like that. The reason I would put it there is you have prior resistance, you have support, right? All through here, support. And then you can see, you know, further support, and what was once support typically flips to resistance on that. So, but that's kind of my range I would play. So you got 414.9 or 419.40. If it breaks that, man, it's coming down. And this is just based on the ranges, right? So let's look at the so the Harmonic Tracker Pro did call it in a short, has not flipped long yet. Interesting enough for NVIDIA, we got really great bullish divergence, and it began to try to come out, but it hit that trend line and just collapsed. Yeah, that didn't play out at all there. On this one, we've been a little more bearish, so still some room to go. And then the 21, yeah, we're just below the 21. So for me, if you're trading this today, I would not take calls again as long as I'm below this 21 SMA. Now the 21 SMA on the 1 hour is pretty big difference. I mean, that's 440, right? So you could take a potential call off of this support here. If you start to see the divergence center flip green, you see this flip green, we flip this, at least this line here flips back to blue like this. Then you can take a scalp, but just be careful, tighten it up. So that's how I play that one. I have not charted that one, but let me, I think someone put out AMD first. Let me take a look at AMD. I typically flop AMD out for Netflix. I haven't, I need to add some additional charts, but you can see I charted AMD not too long ago. So, man, AMD is taking a poop. First thing that stands out to me on AMD is you do have some bullish divergence popping up, right? It's pretty oversold, and there's obviously crazy support here. So let's look out and see how strong that support is. So you can see what was once support was also resistance. We did get a bounce off of it as well right here. So we can definitely draw a line, I'd say probably around there, around 100.24. Yeah, and look at its prior resistance in here. I mean, it went above, right? But tons of resistance. So here's my thing with AMD. There's a lot of support at this line, but there's a lot of history of resistance. And so this is going to be your pivotal spot. So I'll keep this one short. If you're below here, right, I would, keep looking for that put. Now, when I say, people get confused sometimes when I say I would take a put below this or I'd take a call above that. I don't mean right when market opens, it's below it. Ooh, take a put. I don't mean like if it crashes like that, take a put right here. To be clear, what I mean is let this pull back at market open. Wait about 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? Let it find some support. come back through, create a lower high off of some resistance. Once you get your bearish confirmation right, you can take that put. You also want to be careful taking a put when you're extremely oversold. So you know, for me, being this oversold, I'd want to see this RSI kind of work its way up a little bit before I would enter that put. Now, this is the 1 hour. Y'all know I scalp on the 2 minute, but I use the 1 hour for direction. So hopefully that helps you on that. But if you're above the 100.25, I think you're okay to take calls just because you got a lot of support here. Just be mindful of where this 21 SMA, because that's usually your first line of rejection, which is around 102.3. If it flips that, then the next level is 105.8. So gap fills, nothing too crazy popping out. And then the harmonics, you just had this short that's still playing out, so we haven't flipped it long on that yet. Let's check the 2 minute. So 2 minute, this is why I do look local, right? So you do have a double bottom forming here. So if we can break this neckline here, right, then that would give you your push up there. So that's why I scalp on the 2 minute. Hopefully that helps you on that. I just did Tesla, actually. I'm recording this too, so if you go to our YouTube, ATA_trader, or in our community, that'll help you out. So I don't know that one either. Let's actually, I'll just overdo. I have not charted that one, but I will take a look for you. And this is probably the last one I'm gonna do for right now. I'm assuming this is the one that you want. I have not charted this one, so I'm not gonna pretend that I did. Holy moly, this thing's been climbing. Let me mute this one, it's a little loud. So first thing I do anytime I look at anything else, and guys, I do this every time because I want to show you guys how to do this for each. It doesn't matter which one you're doing it for. It's the same rules, right? So first thing I do is I start at the 1 hour. I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna stretch it down. Now I want to find where's my upper and where's my lower trend lines. Where can I box this sucker in, right? I can obviously tell on the 1 hour we're getting really close to our prior times that we rejected like crazy. So I don't normally do it this way, but I'm gonna take a line and I'm gonna put it right there, and I'm just gonna mark this one like red if I were to chart this, because we're so close to it, right? So that's gonna be my put area. If we explode past this, don't chase it. Let it explode and then catch the pullback off support and then take your call, right? If not, if it loses some steam as it gets up here, right? Man, play that put, because I mean you can see as it rejects off of it, it's pretty nasty drops. So how I'm gonna box this in is for the day, if I'm trading it, is I would probably take this peak here, even though it's really tight to it. I would draw it like that. Then I would take probably this low here, and I would box it in like that. And so you can see we're obviously really high in the range. So the other thing I would say too, you can tell the volume's not very good on this too, the way the candles look, but depending how this opens, right, I mean, it could be very head and shoulder-ish, right, to have that fall. We do have the bearish divergence that's called right here. Yeah, I would be really careful taking a call on this just because it's so high in the range. I would set it up more for a put if I'm looking for a put if I look for this one. Now, if you get an explosive candle on open, I would give it 15 minutes to do it. If it breaks above this trend line here, then heck yeah, man, write a call up. But if it continues to reject, I would say somewhere around this shoulder, like the 10.60. If you see that rejection right when you get down to this neckline around 10.50, you could take that put. But that's how I would play that. That's usually how I box it in. From a indicator standpoint, I mean, you can see how big this gap is, the explosion. So but keep in mind, man, this is the thing that you want to look and see. All this explosion was above the 21. Now look where we are, though. We're below this 21. So if we're below that 21 SMA, it's starting to look weak. I mean, divergence hunter is red, and it's got a long way to go before it retests that 200, which it always retests the 200. You can see here, it did the same thing, right? So it pumped, fell below the 21, kind of went sideways, retested the 200, and then it went sideways, and then you had your push again. So harmonics, we got our first bearish harmonic. This is our resistance up here that it's calling. It did call the long and the short and the long, though, so it did call that well. Gap fill, we've been a little bit too bullish. I mean, I could tell that just the way it's going, right? So hasn't quite called for a bearish gap fill yet, but it's probably getting pretty close. So I'd be really careful taking a call up here. If you're taking a call up there, you're chasing it on FOMO. If I'm gonna take a call on this sucker, I almost want it to drop down here. Even if you're not comfortable taking that put, it's okay. Just let it drop, right? And then take your call off of there. But I'm gonna let you guys go. It's 9:20. I got 10 minutes to get the room out, and then we do trade. If you guys want to come in and trade with us, just come in. It's spotjock.com. Is the put 444? What you talking about, Willis? I think we did 440. John. Oh, John. You get special treatment, I'll tell you. 444.85. So, but you guys can come in, botjok.com, botjok.com. If you guys want to come in and trade, you get all this stuff here. Most of what we do is actually free. You just need an email. We charge more for our products and stuff. And so it looks like that if you're interested. Come on in. So I'm going to stop the community video here, and I'll see you guys in the room soon. I'll put that out here. Give me about 5 minutes.